Welcome back to the Two Tone Podcast. My name is Jaylen Koehl. Alongside me, as always, we got.
Theo Koehl.
How you doing, kid?
I'm doing.
So we're kind of recording this podcast early in the week, but we're still going to release it on a Saturday, most likely. But we're recording it kind of early, so I don't really. We have a couple of topics from last week that we didn't really get into too much, and we got a couple new ones as well. But Thank every thank you to everybody that subscribed to the Two Tone Podcast YouTube channel. We're still working on getting it on Spotify and Apple Music and all that wonderfulness, but one of these days we will. But for now, I appreciate everybody liking and commenting and subscribing to the Two Tone Podcast. Let's get into it, yo. Welcome back to the Two Tone Podcast. Um, for all y'all that don't know or didn't catch the episode last week, I have a new EP out called Unfuckswittable, and I also have a couple live shows scrolling right there on the side. Um, June 3rd at the Little Flower Festival from 1:30 to 2:30, and then also on June 10th, I'll be performing at the OLG Festival in Greenwood from 5 to 7. Come out, ride some rides, get some drinks, come vibe out with me. I appreciate all y'all. But what you been up to, T? What you got to promote so far?
Um, Still working on the script. Gotten a little bit closer since last time.
I'm about to say it's kind of early recording the podcast this week, but so you probably don't have too much done more on the script from last time that we talked.
Yeah.
But you said you was about like 85 to 90% done with the script at this point, just kind of punching up what you got.
Yeah.
It was channel 6, right?
Yes.
Okay. But if anybody that you know or you yourself is interested in being part of a film or short movie or whatever Theo gets into here recently, go ahead and contact him on Instagram at Glasshouse Films 8 on Instagram, and he'll get y'all linked up on all that. So, getting on into what we have to talk about for today, I wrote down the quote of the week, and the quote of the week is kind of a long one. So, what you guys can see there, you must determine who you are going to be in your life. So, this comes from Jordan Peterson in a book called 12 Rules for Life. It's just like 12 little things that you can do in your everyday life, just to kind of make your life go easier, a little better, kind of try and become a better person kind of book. So the whole quote reads, "You must determine who you're going to be in life, because you cannot get there unless you move in that direction. Random wandering will not move you forward. It will instead disappoint and frustrate you and make you anxious and unhappy and hard to get along with, and then resentful and vengeful and then worse." Very, very interesting quote in my mind. Jordan Peterson's been a author that is he's been in kind of the public eye as kind of a very controversial figure, but I find that even though there are some very controversial uh, aspects of his thinking and stuff, most of his books are very kind of like insightful and more inward learning instead of like kind of just like real basic stuff. Just to, I don't know, it's a It's quite the read. It's a long book, but it's really worth the read. Called The 12 Rules for Life. If you enjoy reading, check it out. If you don't, audiobook. I've read so many books on audiobooks. They're so good. If you got a public library card, they usually have an app that you can go into and download their audiobooks and stuff and like listen to them. I used to do it at work all the time. But yeah, that's my quote of the week. What you think about it, T?
Uh, I think it's a pretty good quote.
You read many books?
Not really.
I'm about to say when I was in high school and stuff, I didn't really read too much. Like I obviously had to read the books that you had to read, or at least hit the spark notes. 5 minutes before class and try and figure out what the fuck happens in Romeo and Juliet. But
Yeah.
after high school, there was definitely like a long time where I was like, I'm not gonna read. Like I don't have to. But in my recent life, I've picked back up reading and it's become very important in my life. I feel like reading is it's one of those skills that like if you don't use it, you'll lose it kind of stuff, Like
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times like I've been reading a book and I don't even know I have to like look up one of the words in the book just to comprehend what they're trying to say. But very very interesting book for any of y'all that are interested in it. All right. Getting into the topics that we have for today. One of the ones that we didn't talk about last week that I had on the docket was video game music. So seeing as I dropped my EP, it's more of like a video game music kind of just like 8-bit kind of beats. I wouldn't even want to say 8-bit really because it's not like boom beep boom boom dee, kind of stuff like that. But it's definitely more of the what how would you say it? Like more of a more of something that like a music that goes along with something instead of an album on its own. But I don't give a fuck, so I'm gonna release it anyways. But in many video games, I feel like um, there's a lot of really popular melodies in video games that kind of get drawn into like rap and sampling and rap. I know a lot of Ski Mask, Slump God, and there's a few like Little Yachty songs that have a couple like video game samples in them. Um, I know you kind of play video games more than I do.
Yeah.
What would you say is like one of like the all time great video game songs?
Um, that's hard because there's a lot. Like, I mean, I don't know specific names of said songs, but
Well, right, but like like the Mario theme underwater, or like the song from
um,
just like a game's like theme song.
mm, there's a lot of good ones in the old school wrestling games,
Oh
like
yeah,
old WWE games.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, like soundtracks for like the WWE games, or there's a lot of there's a lot of hype around like what songs go into like the Madden or the 2K soundtrack. I know every year everybody's like, "Oh, this song made it into the fucking into the 2K track, so I'm gonna have to listen to it every day." But I don't really play video games too much. But one of the songs that I think is really interesting is like the old Tetris music or like the Dig Dug soundtrack. Or I don't even know if Dig Dug had audio. If I'm being honest, I feel like it would have, but I'm not sure. But like the Tetris soundtrack, I'm a fucking Tetris fiend. If you didn't, or if you can't see, hold up, got a little Tetris tattoo on me. But I've always admired like the old school like the 8-bit kind of Mario Pokemon. I don't know why it took me so long to think of Pokemon. Pokemon soundtrack, or like I've been playing Rocket League recently. They have like a lot of kind of like weird like EDM remixes and stuff in Rocket League.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see like what kind of music they put in what kind of games. Because I feel like Rocket League could have easily been like a very rock heavy video game, just like real heavy uh distortion and stuff like that. But I enjoy the soundtrack. I'm also a really big EDM fan. If you didn't know, uh, like the lead track on Unfuckswittable, the album right there. You see it on all streaming platforms. Go check it out. Follow me on Spotify. Um, but the first track on there is kind of like it's kind of like more of a EDM kind of beat. It's got a build up and it's got a breakdown, you know. And I found myself kind of more recently diving into more of the EDM kind of, not even like the feel of EDM, not even necessarily using like really the EDM sounds, but just taking like the structure of an EDM song. But
Yeah. Um, a lot of there's only like certain games I don't really like to listen to their music on, and it's because their playlists are so short that it plays every 5 minutes, and it's kind of irritating. Like
I
the new
understand.
WWE game, so irritating to listen to the same 5 songs.
I understand that. Also, like as a kid, my mom was one of those people that was like, turn the volume off or put in headphones, and I never had headphones, so like I'd always play the games without sound. So I also kind of missed out in that aspect of the childhood video game music. But recently, I've kind of gone back into it and taken aspects of like the video game music and EDM and electronic music in general, just kind of making little beats and stuff. It's been really interesting to see what I can come up with. Talking about music leads me into my next topic that I had from last week is music events slash festivals. So you've never been to a concert, have you, T?
Not like the concerts that people usually go to. More like I've been to like the Greenwood concerts and stuff, but I've never been to like an actual concert.
Okay, okay. So like the amphitheater.
Yeah.
Okay, that's, I mean, it's almost a concert. There's a lot of people there. A lot of people go to the amphitheater, but recently there's so like a year ago I saw Tyler the Creator at what's it called? Goodness. It was a music festival in Louisville. I can't remember the name right now, but it'll come to me eventually. But it was, the headliners were Jack Harlow the first night, Tame Impala the second night, and Tyler the Creator the third night. And it was just like 3 days of just fucking mayhem, going to a concert for like 6 hours a day, three different stages. It was such a good time. There were so many bands there that I wanted to see.
Wasn't it Golf Wang spelled backwards or something like that?
No, no, no. That's Flognaw.
Flognaw.
That's out in California. Um,
Didn't you go to that once?
Forecastle. Forecastle is the one I was talking about. It was in Louisville, but they're not doing it this year. I'm so sad. It was such a good time. I've never been to Flognaw though. If I could, I would. That would be such a good time. I've only ever been to one festival. It was Forecastle. Last was 2022, and it was a great ass time. But I get those Snapchat reminders of you know
Yeah.
the videos that you took, and today happened to be the day that like a year ago today Tyler the Creator performed, and I was like, bruh, take me back, bruh. It was such a good time. I was like maybe like 50 yards from the stage, just in a crowd full of people just going ham sandwich. It was such a good time. But I'm about to say you're not really one for the big crowds, are you?
No, not really.
I can understand that. At first, like I really wasn't the kind of person that would get into the pit or like get into like the heavy parts of the crowd. But there are very few people that I would get like that close for. I got as close as I could for Tyler the Creator. I got as close as I could for like a couple of the acts there, like a couple more EDM artists. Wax Motif, check him out. Um, but I was definitely one of the people that was just kind of hanging at the back, just where there's not as many people, just kind of like vibing out to the music, chilling. Have a couple of drinks.
Speaking of Tyler the Creator, what's your album of the week?
Oh yes, that does lead me into the album of the week. The album of the week is Igor by Tyler the Creator. So this album, there's not a single song on this album that doesn't go ham sandwich. Um, so it starts off with just like a really heavy, distorted, just like for like 35 seconds, right? And it hops into the beat, and then you got Earthquake, and then you got I Think, um, and then you got an interlude, and then Running Out of Time. It's kind of like a ballad song, and then one of my favorite songs on the entire album is called New Magic Wand. Have you ever heard of New Magic Wand,
Yeah.
bro? When he played that song at the festival, dog, I went feral, dog. I was in that bit, New Magic Wand, and just going ham sandwich. Sam's got a couple of videos of me that are a little embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie, but if you ever see Sam in public, don't ask her about those. Um, but then New Magic Wand is into Boy is a Gun, Bop, Puppet, Bop. One of my other favorite songs, What's Good? Have you heard What's Good?
Uh, Probably, but I can't remember.
Hold on, see if the mic picks this up. I don't think y'all be able to hear it, but I said I wouldn't go nowhere. I took the detour. When you see the some other crank run by the seashore. If the cop says my name, bitch, I mean cop. Right, it's such a bop. All right, I'll stop embarrassing myself. But what's good? Fire. One of the things that he does in his album, like towards the end of the album, he'll have a track that's two songs like on the same track. Sorry, I got my mic all twisted up. Might have been quiet there for a second. Um, but one of the things that he does is he takes two songs and then puts them on one track. So this album is Gone Gone slash Thank You, two bops, and then it ends with I Don't Love You Anymore and Are We Still Friends? Are We Still Friends? The last two are kind of more like a ballad kind of song. It ends on like kind of a slower, more kind of like
Excuse me if you guys heard that.
what you doing over here?
I just burped.
Oh my god. We're gonna have to restart the podcast. I'm just playing. But anyway, Igor, 10 out of 10 album. It's such a good album. If y'all haven't heard it, put your headphones in, go on a drive, something, listen to this album. Cannot recommend this album enough. But I've always had a love for Tyler the Creator. He's been very instrumental in my fashion choices and in my music. But what's your opinion on Tyler the Creator, TT?
He's a bop.
He's a bop. What is your favorite Tyler the Creator song?
Um, there's a lot.
Or what's your favorite Tyler the Creator moment? That's a better question. He's had so many fucking viral TikTok or viral videos back before
When he
TikTok
slaps
and
the mannequin and then drives off, and he's uh talking about the mannequin's mom or something like that.
What is it like one of the early video,
Yeah.
like the early days? Oh, bro, the early days, like the Loiter Squad days. It's such a goddamn what's it called? Unhinged time with all of them. Fucking him and Jasper and Taco and all them niggas, bro. It's just crazy.
Also, you can call me Mister.
Oh yeah, he had this character called Young Nigga, and he like held this like fake press conference, and he was like, "My name has been offensive to some people, so I'm dropping part of my name. I would now be known as a nigga." old nigga, young nigga. That's Mr. Niggity. Anyway, he's got so many fucking funny videos. Just like the, uh, you gonna bring a birthday present in my birthday on my birthday with a birthday present. Happy birthday! And just hits him with the glass. Oh fuck! Or like the one where he's making the Eggo waffles. Will you just let me do what I need to do?
Yeah.
He's such an iconic character in like in just like random ass videos on the internet. I love Tyler the Creator so much. Speaking of a album of the week, TT, when you told me the film of the week, I didn't know if you was being serious or not, but let the people know what the film of the week is.
Major Payne.
Now, what in your mind made you decide that Major Payne was the film of the week?
Um, I don't know.
Have you seen it recently?
No.
Bro, you gotta watch it. Oh my! Me and Sam sat down last night and watched it because you recommended it, and I was like, it's such a good movie. It's
Can
such a
you
good
read
movie.
hand signs?
Do you read lips?
I'm gonna put my foot
I'm gonna put my
in your
foot
ass.
up
Oh.
your head, boy. 3 at 3. Bruh. That movie is so fucking hilarious. All the Wayne's brothers are fucking hilarious. From White Chicks, have you seen White Chicks?
Yeah.
The other two brothers, and Damon Wayans, I think, is the guy in Major Payne. Excuse me, sorry.
Major Payne's a major dick.
Makes us squat when we piss, bruh. If you haven't seen Major Payne, take a trip back to like 2004 and just let go of all of your judgments of people today and sit down and laugh, bruh. It is one of the funniest movies that I've ever watched as a kid, and it still holds up today. It is hilarious. Remember the ending? I'm not gonna like spoil like anything that happens in the story, but there's another kid that comes in who's blind, and he's got the dog, and
I kind of remember it. I don't
he's just like
remember what he
talking.
says though.
They're talking back and forth, and then the Major Payne is like, "Junior, go get my field knife," and he shaves the kid's head, and then he shaves the dog too, and the
Yeah.
kid reaches down and he's like, "Oh, what happened to my dog?" He's bald. It's hilarious. If you haven't seen Major Payne, go check it out. It's on Tubi and Prime Video. It's on Tubi for free. It's got ads, but you know, say la vie. That's life. But yeah, what made you pick Major Payne? What I still don't know. Why would you pick Major Payne out of all the movies?
I couldn't really think of a movie, and the first thing that came to my mind was Major Payne. So
That's hilarious. That's the first thing that came to your mind is Major Payne. I'm not dogging on it or nothing, but that's fucking hilarious that that's what came to mind when I asked you for a movie. Um, it kind of ties into what we were talking about last week with comedians and stuff like that, though. You picked a comedy after talking about a comedy. Okay, on to did we talk about East versus West Coast creatives last week?
yes, we did.
Okay. Um, but yeah, so we ain't got to talk about that. Um, the next thing on the docket: drug use in the industry as a whole. What are your opinions on drug use in the industry? Do you think it's kind of like a cop out to the creative process, or are you more of a I wouldn't even want to say endorser or nothing, but are you more of a lenient person on drug use?
I mean, drugs do help with creativity within the industry.
Certainly.
So, I mean, do what you want, but
I'm about to say I've always been the person of the mind that like who am I to tell you how to live your life? Like I wouldn't want somebody in my life being like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you gotta do this, da da da, you know.
yeah.
But I myself, if you know, you know. But uh, you know, it's been one of those things that you can definitely use it too much, use it as a crutch, kind of just go off the deep end and not really come up with anything meaningful. But there's also times where like you might be in a creative block for like 2 weeks, and then you smack your jaunt, and then helps you just loosen up a little bit and come up with an idea of what you want to really go for. You know,
Yeah.
it's 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 definitely one of those things that like it really kind of depends on what you're doing. Because if you're sitting there smoking some weed, ain't no harm for no foul. You just can't go off the deep end. Smoke you 17 blunts to the head. But if you're out there doing just cocaine and drinking coffee until 6 o'clock in the morning every night, that's probably not too good for your life. I feel like it's one of those things. It's the industry knows that it happens, but like nobody really wants to address the problem that it could be.
Well, like I don't have a problem with it or anything. Like it's just uh being an anxious person and doing drugs don't really go well together a lot of the times.
Fair enough.
And uh people just be like telling me to do some some type of drug just to get an idea, and I'm like, do I want to go through a panic attack or not?
It's
So,
definitely one of those things that like people nowadays, like with the commonality of smoking weed and just like even though we live in a not in an illegal state, it's still really prevalent. Even other drugs are still really prevalent. Like there's a lot of I feel like fentanyl's kind of like everywhere in the country now, and uh, cocaine use in Greenwood's like on an all-time high, and um, but it's definitely one of those things that like if with the prevalence of weed in pretty much every community nowadays, it's hard to find somebody that isn't gonna pressure you into like using a lot or you know like even if like one of your homies is smoke and they're gonna be like, hey, you want to hit this, and then you're gonna be like, no, I'm good, and then 10 minutes later they're gonna be like, hey, you want to hit this, because they fucking forgot that you're not smoking with them, and then you might fuck around and hit it, and then you like how it feels, so you take two more hits, and then you might be a little too high. It's one of those things that's hard to gauge in the beginning, like when you don't really know who the potency of what you have or
yeah.
the tolerance. That's also a really big thing. Like I'm just gonna say it. I don't give a fuck. Y'all know me. I've been smoking for like 6 years now, so like my tolerance is pretty high. But compared to you, like your tolerance would be very, very, very low.
Like I mean, I've smoked, but not
Right. I'm
not
not,
like
you're
you.
just not like a habitual user like I am.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't really say it's a big problem in my life. It's one of those things that I use as a more of a medicine than a getting fucked up kind of thing. I really only smoke like maybe twice a day when I'm waking up and then when I'm going to bed. But um but yeah, it's one of those things that's kind of controversial in the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
Some people don't really like it, some people really like it. But it's one of those things that a lot of people kind of feel shame for doing, but I don't really give a fuck. It's a plant. It grows.
I mean, it helps create things. So
Exactly. Like it drives the entire industry, but it's the same as tobacco in my mind. Like they have restrictions on tobacco. It could be the same for marijuana and stuff.
yeah.
Interesting thing I heard about marijuana the other day. But marijuana, like the plant itself, it was originally grown for hemp. Like people would use the stalks and the leaves and stuff like that for like textiles for clothes and stuff, and it was a lot more durable than cotton is. But the invention of the cotton gin predated the invention of whatever they use to break down the hemp, because the hemp is more of a fibrous material, so you have to like really break it down.
Um, the sails on the Columbus and like all those ships that came to America, they were hemp.
Yeah, it was really popular, and then they got to the Americas and started planting cotton, and then the cotton gin became really popular. So nobody grew hemp anymore because you could turn out 10 times more cotton in a day than you could hemp, just breaking it down manually. And interesting fact I heard on Joe Rogan the other day.
Did you know that the reason that they blockaded marijuana usage in America was because they white colonizers that came to America, and then like when they got slaves in and everything, and once they started once the white people started seeing the African Americans like smoking weed and stuff, they thought we were gonna take their wives from them,
Interesting.
and like because like back then American or like the black population, like we had like jazz music or we had blues and like all the popular music, and we also were smoking weed and shit, and they were like they're gonna take the white women from us,
That's fucking hilarious.
so
And we did.
that's why we're two tones.
You know what I'm saying? Representative of the biracial. I almost said bisexual. Uh, that's hilarious. But yeah. All right. So moving on from talking about drugs, we're gonna talk about something that's kind of completely unrelated. Talking about budgeting and investing. So I have been notorious over the years for being absolutely dog dookie at saving money. If I have money, I'm spending it. I mean, I have like a retirement fund, like a 401k set up and all that, so I'm slowly accruing money over time, but my savings account has like 38 cents in it, dog. It's a struggle. On the other hand, TT over here, the fucking king is savings, dog. You have significantly more money in savings than I do. I ain't gonna make you say how much you got, but
Yeah.
um,
Let's just say more than a grand.
not bad compared to my 38 cents.
Yeah.
Not bad. Um,
I mean, I also do live in a less or in a place where I don't have to pay as much rent.
very true, very true.
Um,
Damn near, if I could, I'd move back with my mom, but
but
that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother day.
oh, mom could tell you this, but like when I started working at like McDonald's and everything, I used to be a spending fiend. Like I'd get my $100 and be like, guess it's going out the door. But then
That's me as fuck.
I was like, Mom, I need to start saving money. She was like, okay, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want you to make a separate account, put money into that. So I don't even know how much I actually have, but I know it's more than a grand.
Big ballin' over here. It's I'm about to say I've always I just like right now in life I just have bills and life's going a certain way for me, but I'm figuring out slowly. Um but budgeting has always been one of those things that's just escaped my my knowledge. I feel like a lot of times in school they teach you about like how money works, and they they teach you like a little bit of accounting and stuff like that, but they don't really tell you like
There's like, here's your $10. You can put five of those dollars into savings. And then once you turn into an adult, you're like, I have $100. What am I supposed to do with that?
exactly like am I supposed to put $50 into savings, and then I got $83 in bills, and then I only have $22 left, and I'm like, I
Might
just
as well
had
spend it.
exactly that's what I'm saying. Like I just had $100, but now I got $20, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta buy for I could go to the store, get me a couple of something, but it's always been one of those things that's fucking escaped my grasp.
Oh my god, bro. Budgeting for fucking film. Like all my money is just going straight to the film. And I'm like, I don't want to be spending that much money on film shit.
You be
But
fucking spending bands on fucking film shit. I know
yeah,
that shit's expensive as fuck.
but then you're over here rocking it with your guitar that you got when you were 15, still
I'm about to say
strumming on that bitch.
I still play the same guitar that Kyle gave me for Christmas like 7 years ago. I still have the same amp that I bought when I started. I still have. I'm about to say my keyboard was a gift. The only thing that I like really spent money on was my amp and like the. Oh, Kyle gave me the looper, so I only really spent money on a distortion pedal
I
and the
mean,
amp.
yeah, but
And
like filmmaking, like there's things that I don't need, and then there's things that I do need, and the things that I do need are a lot more expensive than the things that I don't need. So I'll be like, I need to get this, so I'm gonna spend blah 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 amount of money on this. But then I'm like, do I want to buy that, or do I want to buy something that I don't really need right now that I could put to use at a later date? So,
I'm at this a lot of the times I
but the
feel
thing,
like
and a lot of the times, the thing that I don't need are more impressive than the things that I do need.
that's what I'm saying. I feel like sometimes you get stuff that you don't necessarily need, but like looks cool. You
Like
know?
a drone.
Yeah, exactly. Like a drone. Were we recording when we talked about that?
I don't think so.
I mean, this motherfucker talks to me saying about should I get a drone or a camera lens? And I'm talking about a drone, motherfucker. You want a drone, dog? That's gonna be like that's gonna be like 2 bands on it. And he's like, yep, that's 2 bands, bro. I'll drop it right now. I'll go and get it right now. I'm like, bro, you just gonna drop 2 bands on a drone?
But yeah,
This motherfucker crazy, bro.
shit's expensive, especially nowadays,
Indeed, it'd be expensive.
especially with fucking America. I don't want to get into that, but
I'm about to say music shit is expensive, so I can only imagine how expensive film shit is.
bro, fucking gas is expensive.
Fucking gas is expensive. That shit's ridiculous.
It's been like $60 to fill my fucking car up from empty, and it's like, or not from empty, from half tank, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Where did it even go? And then it's gone in a week, and you're like,
Yeah,
bruh, I ain't even want to fucking do it anymore.
exactly. Oh, now on to investing.
On to investing.
Investing is an amazing option if you know the right people.
Very true. I oftentimes more feel like it's more important to like invest in your relationships with people more than it is like monetarily valuable.
Yeah.
Like the more people that you know, the more you can branch out and the more that your art is seen.
Uh, yeah. I was watching a video on like investing and budgeting and stuff, and
Mhm.
they were telling me, or like in the video they were saying that like a lot of doctors put, or a lot of doctors are easier to get to invest than like lawyers and other people, because uh doctors just get bank for helping people, and so like they'll be more inclined to put their name on a film or whatever they're investing in.
Very interesting.
And
I've
then
never really even like looked into the world of having somebody like invest in your art in your pursuit. Um, have you like looked into it at all? Really?
um yeah, I've looked into it, but it's hard to get people to invest in a film when it's like your second or third film. But past that, um it's still hard to get people to invest because like you have to prove to them that you can make that money back for them.
Right. I'm about to say, especially since you only have the one out right now.
Yeah.
Going back to this fucking broken drum that I've been beating to you, I feel like you just need to get out and just record like a couple videos. They don't even have to have like people in them. Just kind of just work on like your editing and work on your storytelling and just kind of start pumping out like little short 3 4 minute videos, like maybe like once a month or once every other month. I know you didn't really have too much time to work on projects these days, working all the time, but
So when I'm not at work, I'm working on other stuff
very true.
like scripts and shit.
I feel like it'd be very beneficial for you to just get more proof of what you're able to do.
Um, I remember talking to you at work one day, and I was like, man, I wish I had the lifestyle of like a major director where they just literally sit in their house and write a script instead of having to like work a second job or anything. Like all they do is literally just they make a film, and then once that film's over, they start working on the next film. Then once that film's over, they start working on the next film. And they don't
Indeed.
have to worry about like going to, oh, I got to go to my job in 3 hours, so let me write 3 hours worth of script and then go work for 8 hours and then come back home and be tired as fuck and not want to do shit.
I totally understand what you're saying. I feel like working for me is more of like for the I mean, I also need money, but like working for me is more of a just like I literally couldn't sit at home all day for 8 hours a day and do nothing instead of like working on my music and whatnot. But I feel like honestly, if music was my full time job, I would fucking burn out so quickly. Like, it's one of those things for me, and especially with like physical art and like making clothes and stuff. It's more of a release for me, honestly. I feel like if I had to pump out an album every year, or if I had like a contractual obligation to somebody, excuse me, I feel like I would definitely burn out really quickly. But you kind of seem to be the opposite way. You feel like it would be more beneficial if you could spend all your time working on a project.
Because I mean, working on the project is what I like to do. I don't like to stand at work and make food for 7 hours.
I get that.
Like I would much rather just be like at my house working on the script, trying to find like doing the process of working on
Right.
what I want to do.
I feel like a lot of what's hard about the industry, the film industry when you're starting out is really just like connection. Because if you find a few people that are willing to even act, you can kind of convince them to do whatever. Like, if you have just like a group of like 5 or 6 kids that you can rely on to be actors, you can kind of pick two to be in this one, and then use a couple of them later. But it's very,
Like me with you.
yeah.
Like I asked you to be in my first film. You were in the first film, but you also helped with the background setup and everything.
Right. Like it's definitely harder to find people in your later life, like out of high school and shit, that are willing to do this, because as we were talking about, everybody's got a job and they don't really have time after work or before work.
Yeah, or they're in college and they don't have time at all.
Right. A lot of your friends right now are like what, juniors or seniors in high school or in
Sophomores.
college, sophomores in college. Yeah. I'm about to say, I remember like after high school, I didn't go to college, and it was just fucking depressing because ain't nobody in town. And when everybody comes in town, they're just hanging out with their family, so you can't really even hang out with them that much. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. I digress. Anyways,
I mean, like, I like to have, like, connections. Like, with you, you help. Like, it's a lot easier to do all the directing and stuff when you got people that can, like, help with setup and all
hmm
that. Because it's so fucking irritating being, like, the only guy that carries everything in like this, and you're setting everything up, waiting for everybody else to get there. And then once they get there, they're in there for like 2 seconds, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm going home now." Like,
It's
couldn't,
like, dog, we had 5 scenes to do tonight.
yeah, and you couldn't stay to like help break down at least.
Nope. I can understand how that would be very frustrating.
But you know, I'm also really excited to use like all the new stuff that I've gotten since the last film.
I'm about to say you've gotten quite a bit of new shit since the last time you filmed. It'll be interesting to see how you implement all of it. And
I'm really excited to use that slider. It's gonna be so fun because I can just push in without even moving the camera.
I want to see how you're gonna use the that that camera lens, the kaleidoscope one.
I haven't. So
It could be very interesting.
I got those, but in this new one, I don't think we're gonna ever use it because I don't have a scene where I can use it that I know of.
I don't know. I'm sure you could figure something out. It's a really cool
Probably.
fucking camera lens. It
Yeah.
makes it look like you're looking through a kaleidoscope.
I also like the linear one, where it's the lines
Yeah,
that are all separate. I'm
that'll
also
be very interesting.
I'm also really excited to use like the other lenses, like the ones that, like, if you're shooting outside, you can change what they look like. Like, you can change if it's how dark the camera or how much light the camera's bringing in with the lens.
Okay.
Forget what they're called though.
I'm about to say I don't think you showed me those ones,
Yeah.
but it'll definitely be very interesting to see how it goes out. So, next topic of discussion on the Two Tone podcast. Subscribe if you're not. Like, leave a comment, all of that wonderfulness. Follow TT, follow me on all the socials and whatnot. My thing's running down there. TT's is going in a little bit, but next topic of discussion is a little current events. So the Indy 500 just happened last weekend, and if you couldn't hear it from over here, TT just rolled his eyes, and I think they touched the back of his brain. TT's not a fan of the 500, but I wore a little racing shirt just to talk about it.
All right. So
Let the people know what your grievances are with the Indy 500.
okay, well, I'm not trying to disrespect people, but the Indy 500 is probably the stupidest sport you could ever watch. Who wants to watch people go? I don't even remember how many laps it is. But
It's not that many, if I remember.
still, why would you want to sit there in the blazing heat watching people go in a fucking oval
It's 200 laps.
for 200 laps?
That's a lot of fucking laps.
Exactly.
But yeah, I've never really been one for the Indy 500. I've lived in Indy for my entire life, but I've never even been to the 500. I thought about going this year for the Snake Pit. It was I forget who was headline. But Shaq was gonna be there. He's a DJ now. Oh, just because Shaq can be a DJ now.
Yeah.
But I was gonna go, but I never got tickets. So it looked like a good time. It wasn't too hot. That's often a problem with the Indy 500. It's usually just hot as fucking balls. Like, I remember one of my friends said last year that their girlfriend ended up passing out and they had like heat stroke or some shit because there was just like there's no shade in the infield, and they ran out of water. Like, how do you run out of water at a sporting event in the middle of the summer? Like,
In my opinion, it's pointless. It's just stupid. Because like, if you're not in the center, the pit, you're sitting in the stands where the fucking sun's been beating on the goddamn metal seats for 5 hours before you got there.
yeah, you couldn't catch me out in the grandstands. I wouldn't do that shit, bro.
It's just, I don't understand why people would want to put themselves through that.
I'm about to say, I've had a couple friends that have gone to the 500 and they always end up getting sunburnt or fucking like bro said, they fucking ran out of water. Like, how do you run out of water?
Like,
But
I mean, I get it. Like, if you want to get drunk with friends, but you don't need to go out and sit for 200 laps in a fucking oven to get drunk with friends. John's having technical difficulties here. All right. So while Jalen's having technical difficulties there, but yeah, I just don't understand why you'd want to go sit in an oven for 200 laps and get drunk with friends if you could get
hello.
drunk with friends at a pool party
Oh,
or at your house. Um, yeah, I just don't know. It's, I mean, I'd get it like if it was like the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals, but people driving around a track for 200 laps, come on now. It's just what it is, you know. Life is life. People can do what they want. And if you want to go sit out there for 200 laps, go ahead, but I'm just saying it's kind of stupid. Um, but yeah. Um, okay. So Bert Kreischer is an amazing comedian. Um, he's in a new film called The Machine. It's about a backstory on a comedy show that he's was on, or not a comedy show, on a comedy set he was on. He was talking about how he was in Russia on a field trip, on a school field trip or something like that, and he got entangled with like the mafia in Russia, and they called him the Machine because he got drunk and got all fucked up and did some stupid shit. But the film, I don't know. I didn't. I haven't watched it. Jalen has, but he could talk to you about that.
all right. Sorry about this, y'all. I don't know what happened to my microphone, but we're gonna make it work because we got 5 minutes left. But we're talking about the machine, and I went to go see it with my fiance the other day at Tibbs Drive-In, and it was a really good experience. I've always loved the drive-in. I've only ever been like recently a couple times. I went to see a concert that they had and over COVID and for Mark Rebier. If you haven't seen Mark Rebier, check him out. Very worth the listen. But we went to see the Machine, and as TT was saying, it's based on a comedy set that Burt Kreischer had called The Machine, where like in college he had a chance to go to Russia and like earn extra credit for his class or whatever it was, and it's just this story like he meant to say like to these people in Russia that like he was a badass, but he said it wrong, and he said like La Machina or something, and they were like, "What? You're a machine?" And they're like, "Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on, come drink with us." And then like he kind of like got welcomed into the mob in Russia, and it was just like about that entire time, and it's very interesting to see in the movie. I thought it was gonna be just more of like a slapstick comedy movie, but it was very very well put together. The transitions in the movie, very very good transitions. That was one of the things that I was very surprised about, and one of the I'm not gonna like spoil anything because it's a pretty new movie, but if you know Bert Kreischer, or even if you don't, go check out The Machine. It's a super good movie. But like it's kind of like a perspective of him in he's like living in today's world, being like, I'm no longer the machine. And then like somebody from Russia is like, are you the machine? Like somebody from Russia comes back to his present life, and then he's like, are you the machine? And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm not the machine anymore. And they're like, no, you're the machine. You're coming with us. And then like it's just about him trying to find this watch, or yeah, I think it's a watch that he stole back in the day. Like they got drunk and robbed the train, and he just has to go back and find the watch that he stole and give it back to his family. But it's a super super good movie. Bert Kreischer's always been one of those comedians that he's always been like a fan favorite, I feel like. But if you haven't seen The Machine, go check it out. Do you have any plans to see The Machine soon?
Um, Not really. I mean, not soon, but at some point, yeah.
You probably just wait till it comes on Netflix or something. I'm about to say that's what I usually do with movies nowadays. I don't really go to the movie theaters much, but I saw it was playing at the drive-in, and I always like going to the drive-in. Give me a hot dog, give me a drink, sit in the back of the car. But I think that's pretty much all that we had on the topic on the docket for today. Um, Even if it's not, I can't see my phone over there. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that's listening to the Two Tone Podcast. Share it with your friends, your brother, your mother, your goldfish's nephew. Subscribe to the Two Tone Podcast. Like, leave a comment. I appreciate all y'all. But yeah, you got anything to say? Any hot topics to leave them off with?
Um, I don't really have any hot topics to leave you off with, but uh, just want to shout out Kyle Baston. I almost said Kyle Burton. Kyle Baston. Shouts out to him pushing, being that Niggs. Um, Shouts out to Russell Stone for always being down to do something, being an artist and everything as he is. Shouts out to J Money right there. For helping with editing and music and everything on my films, on my film, future films too, but film right now. Yeah, just make sure you check out Two Tones Podcast, subscribe, leave a comment, like. Yeah, subscribe to Glasshouse Films 8 on YouTube. If you want to get in contact with me about being in a film or helping with background stuff, contact me at Glasshouse Films 8 on Instagram. And check out Jaylen's stuff at j.a.k on Spotify and Apple Music. And yeah, just pass the word around about this podcast if you like it. And if you like any of the other stuff that me and Jaylen make, share that also. All right. Deuce. Peace out. Share with your mom, your dad, your brother, and your sister. This has been Two Tone Podcast. Deuces.